Hello BookTube. Today for Tag Tuesday, I'm going to be doing Josh's Spice book tag. This tag is the 30th in the foodie tag, or the foodie book tag series created by Josh of Literary Gladiators, and he was kind enough to tag me as one of the first booktubers tagged to do this. So thank you, Josh, and I will link to his original video in the show notes down below. Let's get going. Salt. If you were an English teacher, what would you teach to add an engaging taste to your class? I think I would try to add engaging, interesting lectures. I think that would be like add a little spice or a little salt to the lecture. I think that could work quite well. Also, probably letting the kids figure out what the heck they want to read. Always helpful. Question number 2. Black pepper. A classic that leaves a lingering aftertaste. I'm going to go with the Iliad by Homer. It is one of the great epics. It's always thought-provoking and always leaves you with like that emotional gut punch. Reading the Iliad is like a very emotionally draining, impactful event. Prompt number 3. Crushed red pepper. A writer that fires you up. Well, I guess firing you up can mean a lot of things. It could be in a positive way. It could be in a more negative way. Like an author you love, but who you don't necessarily agree with, or that angers you at times. And for this prompt, I think I'm going to go with Katie Edwards. He is the author of the Tarot Sequence series of urban fantasy novels in which the survivors of the Atlantean World War or World War III have migrated to the island of Nantucket off of the coast of Massachusetts and turned it into New Atlantis. And the various politics of Atlantis and the magic and all that stuff. It's basically urban fantasy. I have mixed emotions about the Tarot Sequence and its 2 books, The Last Sun and The Hanged Man. On the one hand, I like the idea of them. I like a good chunk of the execution of the novels. I'm not necessarily fond of the protagonists for a number of reasons, and I'm always sort of like thinking about the Tarot Sequence. Kind of always, I think, fires me up some, so I'll go with that. Prompt number 4, Paprika. A writer that can be both mild and intense with their writing. I don't know. I think maybe China Mieville. He's a British speculative fiction writer, most famous for his Boss Log novels, a series of new weird fantasies, and also scholarship. I haven't read a lot of his scholarship. I know a lot of his fiction is quite intense. And I think his novel on the Russian Revolution was rather intense as well. So, but I'm thinking some of his scholarly work might be a bit more mild, because I think scholarship tends to be a bit more mild than fiction. I could be wrong, though. I mean, he could be completely intense. Question number 5. Nutmeg, a genre or category of writing that is great in slight amounts, but overwhelming when overdone. Literary fiction. I have this weird relationship with literary fiction, I will admit. I want to like it. I aspire to like it. I used to like it. But I just haven't really been able to get into it all that often for years now. And it's kind of frustrating. Prompt number 6. Cinnamon, a cozy work about an intense subject. For this, I'm going to go with If Then by Joe Lepore. If Then is about the Simulmatics Corporation, a company that attempted to make the gathering of data, the sort of interpretation of data, of surveys, of that sort of thing, of advertising, more scientific, more predictive. Basically, the algorithm that we live with today really is rooted in the Simulmatics Corporation. And Joe Lepore's history of this corporation and sort of the seeds of what how the Simulmatics Corporation and what they did sort of informs our world today. If Then is also very much about the Vietnam War, because Simulmatics were deeply involved in the Vietnam War, and any book about the Vietnam War is incredibly intense. Prompt number 7, garlic powder. What are your thoughts on Sparknotes? I have no idea who they are. I'm assuming they're something similar to Cliff Notes, in which case they're not, I think, for what they aspire to do, for what they aspire to help students do, I don't think they're very effective. Because Sparknotes, Cliff Notes, I don't think really sort of can impart the material. Or comprehension, for that matter. So I think it would be, I don't think very highly of Sparknotes. Turmeric, the most yellow book you own. Look to the thumbnail of my most recent video. I just started my 2022 library tour, and the first book I show is by far the yellowest book I have, and likely one of the yellowest books ever, and that is the Gourmet Cookbook, edited by Ruth Reichel. It is one of what I call an anthology cookbook. It collects 1,000 recipes that appeared in Gourmet magazine over its long history. Gourmet was a seminal culinary magazine in the United States until it folded in, I want to say, around 2010. Ruth Reichel was the last editor, and before Gourmet closed or folded, she collected a large number of recipes, or collected a large number of recipes in 2 cookbooks. The Gourmet Cookbook, which is incredibly yellow, including yellow cloth bookmarks and pages and ink. The recipes are in yellow ink, so it is a very yellow book. The sequel is green. So if there's ever a question about the greenest book, it's going to be that one. Question number 9. Chili powder. A difference-making character in a work. I'm going to go with Wendy Marvell from Fairy Tale. Wendy is a young Sky Dragon Slayer who joins the main cast during the Oresian Says arc. She's initially a member of the Kate Shelter Guild, and she's one of the wizards tasked with forming an alliance to take on the Oresian Says Dark Wizard or Guild. And eventually she joins Fairy Tale and becomes, after that, one of the main characters. And I think her inclusion in the series does change the series quite a lot. And I think for the better. The dynamics kind of change, and it's really interesting. So I'll go with Wendy Marvell from Fairy Tale by Hiro Mishima, of which I am steadily in the process of adding more. Spoilers for my January book haul, and probably book hauls going forward. Question number 10. Cardamom. Work that can directly relieve you on a bad day. I think there are a number of possibilities. Agatha Christie, I think, almost definitely, although I really should have gone to her earlier. I'm thinking about going to an Agatha Christie novel today. If not today, then maybe this weekend. But I think Agatha Christie, poetry always works. Comics, manga, that works for me as well. So for this, I'm going to go with Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie, because I have a real hankering to reread Death on the Nile, or maybe even Evil Under the Sun. So I'll leave both down below in the books mentioned part of the show notes, because I'm likely to get to one or the other this week sometime. Question number 11. What is your favorite spice? Salt. I quite like salt, although I think I actually prefer black pepper more than salt. But you need salt to live. But I think of all the spices, black pepper is my favorite. And finally, number 12. Who do you tag? I tag everybody. Although I think I would like to specifically tag the Bookish Bryants. Brian of Bookish, if he's fills up for doing this tag. I know he sort of stepped back from doing some tags lately. Peg of the History Shelf, if she wants to do this one, and everybody else. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. Anyway, BookTube, that was the Spice book tag. I will see you tomorrow with part 2 of my library tour. We'll be tackling the art books. So from here on out, the library tour is going to be in this room. The only books I have that are not in this room are the cookbooks. And if the audio on my library in the cookbook part of the library tour is a bit soft and difficult to hear, I'm sorry. The kitchen is a much bigger room than my bedroom, so it probably was a bit harder to hear. So anyway, but that's all I got for today. So thank you, BookTube. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.